He's fueled by a fiery vengeance, but his powers are cold as ice. Sub-Zero is a rare mix of cryomancer meets ninja assassin. He's not nearly as cool as Johnny Cage, but Sub-Zero is still one of the most badass characters in Mortal Kombat. To celebrate one of the series' most legendary characters, we're going over his entire history. The Lin Kuei. For centuries, a secret clan of assassins has existed within the northernmost parts of Asia, thriving off the evil intent of those desperate enough to seek out their services. They're known as the Lin Kuei, the most feared group of ninja thieves throughout the land. Lin Kuei warriors are chosen at birth and stripped away from civilization in order to hone their abilities. Each member possesses a special skill passed on throughout the generations, some of which are even supernatural. Some time ago, the Grandmaster of the Lin Kuei sent one of his operatives to America on a mission to find a woman that would bear his children. And so, two sons were born, Bi-Han and Kuai Liang. Once the boys reached a certain age, the Lin Kuei operatives took them back to China to be raised as assassins. Because of their father's supernatural attributes, they inherited his cryomancer abilities, making them capable of forging ice from their fingertip. However, the brothers themselves are very different in nature. Bi-Han is very cold in his demeanor. The last cold pun, guys, I promise. He's known to kill without hesitation if it means fulfilling his mission, so he gains a professional reputation amongst the Lin Kuei. His accomplishments eventually earn him the rank of most feared warrior within the group, as well as a fancy new name, Sub-Zero. His younger brother, Kuai Liang, is far more compassionate and won't take a life unless it's absolutely necessary. He comes to be known as Tundra. Bi-Han's story, Mortal Kombat mythologies, and Mortal Kombat. Now, because of his reputation, Sub-Zero is often assigned jobs the Lin Kuei aren't normally given, one of which is given to him personally by the Grandmaster, as they have been recruited by a sorcerer named Quan Chi to retrieve the map of elements from a Shaolin temple. Of course, Sub-Zero is successful, but not without a fight. While in the temple, Sub-Zero comes across another legendary ninja assassin, Hanzo Hasashi, a member of the Lin Kuei's rival clan, the Shirai Ryu. The two assassins battle, and Sub-Zero kills Hanzo and returns the scroll to the Grandmaster. To reward the Lin Kuei for a job well done, Quan Chi destroys the Shirai Ryu clan. When Sub-Zero returns, the Lin Kuei gives him another task. He must find a mystical amulet and return it to Quan Chi. Sub-Zero battles many elemental guards to retrieve the amulet, but none can stop the Lin Kuei warrior. Right before Sub-Zero could claim the amulet, Quan Chi appears and reveals the truth behind it. The amulet belongs to Shinnok, a corrupt elder god seeking vengeance on the rest of the Elder Pantheon. Because of Sub-Zero's assistance in tracking down the scroll and defeating the guards, Shinnok is now that much closer to returning. The Necromancer vanishes, and Raiden, the god of thunder and protector of Earthrealm, appears before Sub-Zero, scolding him for his actions. So, in an act of redemption, Sub-Zero travels to the Netherrealm to retrieve the amulet, where he comes face to face with Hanzo once more. See, after Sub-Zero killed him, Hanzo was resurrected by Quan Chi, becoming his servant and taking on the name Scorpion. Quan Chi lied to Scorpion, pitting the destruction of the Shirai Ryu clan on Sub-Zero, and further pitting the two against each other. Sub-Zero defeats Scorpion once again, retrieves the amulet, and returns it to Raiden. After Sub-Zero returns home, the Grandmaster informs him that he has been handpicked by Shang Tsung to compete in the Mortal Kombat tournament. It's the perfect opportunity to carry out his next mission: kill Shang Tsung. Unfortunately for Sub-Zero, Scorpion is also recruited to compete in the Mortal Kombat tournament. Their third battle is their last, as Scorpion finally kills Sub-Zero and avenges his clan. Well, as far as he knows. Kuai Liang, Mortal Kombat 2 and 3. After learning of the events leading up to his brother's death, Kuai Liang becomes outraged. He starts his brother's training regiment and eventually takes on the Sub-Zero persona to complete Bi-Han's mission to assassinate Shang Tsung. Lucky for him, Shao Kahn announces a second Mortal Kombat tournament, and the Lin Kuei choose him and his pal Smoke to represent them and kill Shang Tsung. During that time, Scorpion hears that Sub-Zero is back, so he enters the tournament as well. However, when he sees Kuai Liang sparing the life of a defeated opponent, Scorpion realizes that this Sub-Zero is not the same merciless killer he swore vengeance against, so he vows not to hurt him. By the end of the tournament, Sub-Zero and Smoke are unsuccessful in whacking Shang Tsung. They return to the Lin Kuei, where they learn the Grandmaster is carrying out something called the Cyber Initiative. The plan is to adapt to the modern age by transforming his warriors into machines. First in line for this transformation are Sector, Cyrax, Smoke, and of course, Sub-Zero. As you can imagine, no one is really on board with this idea, and so Smoke and Sub-Zero run away from the Lin Kuei. Unfortunately, the Lin Kuei catch up to them and capture Smoke. Luckily, Sub-Zero crosses paths with Raiden and tells him about what's happening. The Elder God agrees to rescue Smoke, but only if Sub-Zero fights for Earthrealm against Outworld's sudden invasion. He agrees, but during the competition, faces off against a cyborg version of Smoke. He is able to help Smoke reconnect with his human side, and together they defeat Sector and Cyrax. This victory is short-lived once Shao Kahn captures Smoke, deactivating him and storing him under his fortress, while Sub-Zero is forced to escape back to Earthrealm. A new Grandmaster, Mortal Kombat 4 and 5 Deadly Alliance. At last, Shinnok escapes and wages war against the realms. Once again, Sub-Zero teams up with Raiden to fight alongside Earthrealm, but is blindsided by Scorpion. Quan Chi had apparently reconvinced him that Sub-Zero was responsible for killing his clan, so Scorpion is out for vengeance. Again, confused, Sub-Zero tells Scorpion that neither he nor his brother are responsible for the destruction of the Shirai Ryu. Quan Chi appears moments later and admits, yeah, he was the one to kill off Scorpion's clan, that he'd been playing the two against each other since the beginning. He then goes on to banish Scorpion to the Netherrealm, but a furious Scorpion tackles Quan Chi and they both fall to the Netherrealm. This frees Scorpion from his curse and ends the feud between the Lin Kuei and the Shirai Ryu. After surviving his run-in with Scorpion, Sub-Zero returns to the Lin Kuei temple to take down the Grandmaster, but shortly after he arrives, he discovers that Sector killed the Grandmaster and has taken over. Sub-Zero fights Sector, forces the cyborg to flee, and claims victory as the new Grandmaster of the Lin Kuei. Upon becoming the new Grandmaster, he receives the Dragon Medallion, which amplifies his powers. He then moves the Lin Kuei out of China to Antarctica. Geez, Sub-Zero, not everyone in the Lin Kuei has ice powers. From there, he discards any remaining cyborgs and begins recruiting new members to rebuild the clan as a force for good. Sub-Zero then holds a competition to determine the new hierarchy, where he finds a protege, Frost. Sub-Zero vs. Noob Saibot, Mortal Kombat 6, Deception. After hearing of Liu Kang's death at the hands of the Deadly Alliance of Quan Chi and Shang Tsung, Sub-Zero and Frost travel across the realms to track down his allies. Along their journey, Frost decides, hey, let's double-cross her master and steal the medallion for herself. However, the power's too much for her to control and she's frozen to death. Heartbroken over the recent turn of events, Sub-Zero searches for a sarcophagus for his fallen protege. In his travels, he comes across a wounded friend, Kenshi, who informs him that the Earthrealm warriors have failed to stop the Deadly Alliance. As a result, a new enemy has surfaced, Onaga. The two band together to face off against this new foe, but on their journey, they cross paths with a woman named Serena. She tells Sub-Zero that his brother, Bi-Han, is still alive, which isn't exactly true. They find a resurrected Bi-Han, a Wraith, who attacks and almost kills Sub-Zero. Serena is forced to take on her demon form and fight him off. Once Sub-Zero comes to, he returns to the temple, where he finds Frost very much alive and waiting for revenge. The two face off, and he freezes her once more, hiding her away within the temple. Sometime later, Taven, a child of Argus, protector of Edenia, arrives at the temple to collect certain items that would help him prevent the end of days. Sub-Zero agrees to give him the item, but only if Taven can best him in combat. But before they can throw down, Sector and Noob Saibot, aka Resurrected Bi-Han, attack the temple, turning many of their warriors into cyborgs. Taven eventually defeats Bi-Han, and Kuai Liang confronts his brother about cleansing his tainted soul, but to no avail. Cyber Sub-Zero, Mortal Kombat Armageddon, and Mortal Kombat 9. Next time we see Noob Saibot and Sub-Zero, it's during Armageddon. Noob fights on the side of evil, while Sub-Zero fights for the good guys. Of course, there are no survivors beyond Raiden and Shao Kahn. In an effort to save the realms, Raiden uses his mystical amulet to turn back time to the events of the first Mortal Kombat. The events of the first tournament remains the same in the new timeline, but a huge split happens with the second tournament. Kuai Liang and Smoke travel to Outworld to kill Scorpion, not Shang Tsung, and the Cyber Initiative begins much earlier. Kuai Liang manages to track down Scorpion, but is abducted by robotic versions of the Lin Kuei and transformed into a cyborg. Luckily, his friend Smoke recognizes his new blue robot body, takes him to Raiden. He helps him reconnect to his own human side and frees his mind from the cybernetic influence of the Lin Kuei. Racked with guilt over the horrible things he's done for Shao Kahn, Sub-Zero becomes an informant for the good guys, going behind enemy lines to dig up any information he can on Shao Kahn. Although, this plan goes awry rather quickly, as Sector senses something is off with Sub-Zero's programming, and the two are forced to battle it out. Sub-Zero is victorious, and then goes after Quan Chi, where he has another run-in with his brother, Noob Saibot. Again, he fails to reach his brother's humanity, and the two brothers face off against each other. Sub-Zero successfully fights him off and quickly rushes back to Earthrealm's headquarters. When he gets back, the Earthrealm warriors are ambushed by the Lin Kuei and the goddess Sindel, who's been brainwashed. Most of the Earthrealm warriors are killed, including Sub-Zero. An all-new Sub-Zero MKX Comics. Quan Chi strips Cyber Sub-Zero of his metal parts and crafts a new human body for him, but it's not out of kindness. Quan Chi uses Sub-Zero's soul in this new body as a revenant to do his bidding. After Shao Kahn is defeated, Shinnok and Quan Chi wreak havoc across Earthrealm with Sub-Zero and Scorpion working alongside each other as revenants. They battle many of the Earthrealm warriors, but Johnny Cage defeats Shinnok, imprisoning him within the amulet. Quan Chi retreats with his revenants back to his fortress and to think of a new plan to release Shinnok, but when they arrive, they're greeted by the Special Forces unit led by Sonya Blade and Johnny Cage. Cage. A brutal battle ensues, many soldiers are lost, and Johnny Cage almost gets turned into one of Quan Chi's zombies. Raiden interferes, and Sonya Blade is able to break Quan Chi's influence over Johnny, which also breaks the spell over the other brainwashed characters. Once he regains his humanity, Sub-Zero immediately feels guilt and seeks out redemption. So, Raiden sends him on a task to collect one of the Kamidogu daggers with blood magic properties tied to them. Once Sub-Zero retrieves the dagger, he's ambushed by a small army of cybernetic Lin Kuei warriors. He uses the dagger to survive this attack, but in doing so, loses all control over his body and disappears. Raiden then summons Scorpion to locate the missing warrior. Sure enough, he finds Sub-Zero still possessed by the power of the gods, and the two battle it out. Scorpion nearly kills Sub-Zero, but decides to spare him instead, leaving him behind. Bo' Rai Cho nurses him back to health, and eventually helps Sub-Zero realize the best path to redemption is by saving the Lin Kuei. Scorpion and Sub-Zero, Mortal Kombat X. So, Sub-Zero sets out to find the new Lin Kuei headquarters in China. And as you'd expect, he's immediately attacked by the Lin Kuei cyborgs. Luckily, he tampers with their mainframe before being held captive by Sector. Sector wants to return Sub-Zero to his old cybernetic ways. But because he tampered with the mainframe, Cyrax regains his free will and stops Sector in his tracks. It's all thanks to Sub-Zero's tampering. Together, Sub-Zero and Cyrax fight off Sector and his cyber forces, and Sub-Zero successfully defeats Sector once more. Cyrax then passes his newfound title of Grandmaster to Sub-Zero, confessing he doesn't want the Lin Kuei to be remembered as a bunch of cyborgs. He initiates a self-destruct sequence that destroys the cyborg warriors, along with himself, leaving Sub-Zero to rebuild the Lin Kuei once more for the forces of good. Just as he did in the previous timeline, he moves their headquarters to Antarctica and begins training new human warriors, including his protege, Frost. Also during this time, Scorpion has revived the Shirai Ryu, and Sub-Zero longs to make amends with his old nemesis. So, Sub-Zero invites Scorpion to his headquarters to make peace. But of course, Frost intervenes, instigating a fight between the two. Is there any timeline where she isn't a pain in the ass? At least she gets frozen again. With Frost out of the way, Sub-Zero explains to Scorpion how Quan Chi has been conspiring against them this whole time and is responsible for the demise of the Shirai Ryu. The truth comes out, and the two warriors make peace. Sub-Zero also begins training the new generation of Special Forces agents, headed by Cassie Cage. The last time we see Sub-Zero in MKX, he and the Lin Kuei swoop in and save the day once things go awry for the new generation in their fight against Outworld. Then the warrior disappears. Little is known about his whereabouts once the battle is over, but before falling silent, we see him discover dragons, with talk about training a new force of Lin Kuei Dragon Riders. I guess we'll just have to wait and see what's in store for the Lin Kuei when Mortal Kombat 11 finally drops. Stay tuned. I've been Marcus with the Leaderboard, thanks for watching. Oh, and what character do you want us to cover next? They could be from Mortal Kombat, or really any other series. I'm down for whatever.